I spent 35 years working at the Port of Miami as a licensed customs broker. I've stared down drug smugglers, negotiated with cartels, without knowing it until later, and cleared billions of dollars in freight. I know that a diplomatic pouch is a specific legal instrument used by sovereign states, not a FedEx box you use to send jewelry to a girlfriend you've never met. So when Ambassador William Vance, a silver-tongued UN diplomat stationed in Kabul, told me he needed to ship his family inheritance to me for safekeeping, I didn't see romance. I saw a red flag the size of a shipping container. He wanted $5,500 for a non-inspection clearance certificate. He said it was the only way to get the gold past U.S. Customs without paying taxes. He thought he was talking to a lonely retiree. He didn't know he was talking to the woman who used to run the inspection team at Terminal J. He demanded a receipt. He wanted proof I had wired the money. So, I gave him one. I photoshopped a wire transfer confirmation so perfect, so detailed, that he spent 3 days screaming at his bank wondering where the money was. He wanted to play games with international shipping? I decided to take him to school. Thank you for being here. I truly believe this story will help you, or help you save someone else, by recognizing the signs of a scammer. These are things we all need to know. So, this is the perfect moment. Hit the like button and subscribe. You guarantee you won't miss any of the upcoming stories without having to search for them. Now, back to it. Retirement in Miami is supposed to be about salsa dancing and mojitos. But after my husband Arthur passed away, the humidity just felt oppressive. I missed the chaos of the port. I missed the logic of logistics. If A connects to B, the cargo moves. If documents are missing, the cargo stops. Life was simple. I joined Silver Singles because I missed intelligent conversation. Arthur was a quiet man, but he was sharp. I wanted that sharpness back. Then I matched with William. Profile, name, William Vance, age, 60, occupation, senior diplomat/UN peacekeeping envoy, location, Kabul, Afghanistan, mission/London, home, status. Widowed. His photos showed a distinguished man in a suit, shaking hands with generals, sitting in armored SUVs, and standing in front of the UN flag. He looked like James Bond, aged gracefully. We moved to WhatsApp. His messages were eloquent. Margaret, my dear. In a world of chaos, your voice is my anchor. The negotiations here are brutal. The warlords respect nothing. But when I read your texts, I remember there is civility in the world. He played the weary hero perfectly. He asked about my career. A customs broker, he wrote. A fascinating profession. You are the gatekeeper of commerce. I admire a woman who understands rules. Rules are there to keep us safe, William, I replied. Without rules, we have anarchy. Precisely, he said. That is why I am here. To bring rules to a lawless land. For 6 weeks, he groomed me. He didn't ask for money. He asked for my opinion on geopolitics. He sent me photos of his diplomatic passport, which I later realized was a crude forgery, but on a small phone screen, it looked okay. He built a foundation of trust. He made me feel like his equal, his intellectual partner. But in the shipping business, we have a saying, if the manifest looks too clean, check the container. The crisis didn't start with a bang. It started with a secret. Margaret, he called me on a Tuesday. His voice was hushed. I need to trust you with something. Something dangerous. What is it, William? The Taliban are closing in on the green zone. I have a box. It contains my late wife's jewelry and some gold bars I purchased as an investment during my time in Dubai. It is my retirement. It is everything I have to start our life together. Okay, I said, grabbing a pen. I cannot take it on the UN flight. They search everything. If they find the gold, they will seize it for safekeeping, and I will never see it again. Corruption is rampant. So what are you going to do? I have arranged a private diplomatic courier. He is a freelancer who has clearance. He can fly the box out tonight. But he cannot deliver it to my home in London. It is being watched. I need to send it to a neutral location. To a person I trust. You want to send it to me, I said flatly. Yes. Just to hold it. I will fly to Miami in 2 weeks to collect it. And you? We can open it together. It was the classic trunk box scam. But he wrapped it in the language of diplomacy to make it sound legal. William, I said, testing him. If it's gold, we need to declare it on Form 6059B upon entry. And if it's over $10,000 in value, we need a FIN-CEN 105. Does the courier handle that? He paused. He hadn't expected me to cite specific customs forms. Yes, my love. The courier handles everything. It is a diplomatic pouch. It is exempt from inspection. It goes straight to your door. No customs. No taxes. I almost laughed. A diplomatic pouch, under the Vienna Convention, is for official government correspondence. It is not for personal gold. And it certainly isn't handled by freelancers. It moves from embassy to embassy, not to a condo in Miami. I understand, I lied. Send me the tracking number. The next morning, I received an email from Global Diplomatic Logistics Service. The website looked professional, until you looked at the URL. www.global-dip-logistics-service-delivery.com. Real logistics companies don't have 4 hyphens in their domain name. I entered the tracking number he gave me, UN 88921 US. A progress bar appeared. Status: on hold. Location: London Heathrow Transfer Centre. Reason: clearance fee required. William messaged me instantly. Margaret, there is a problem. The box reached London, but the courier says the non-inspection certificate has expired. He needs to renew it immediately or British Customs will open the box and seize the gold. How much is the renewal? I asked. It is £4,500. About $5,500 US. I tried to pay from my account here, but the bank system is down because of the bombing. Margaret, I am panicking. Can you cover this fee? I will pay you back from the gold in the box. Just take a bar for yourself. $5,500. He wanted me to wire $5,500 to a stranger to renew a certificate that doesn't exist. I looked at the invoice attached to the email. Payable to Smith Consulting Agent Bank. Chase Bank location, Atlanta, Georgia. So, the British Customs fee was being paid to a consultant in Atlanta? The sloppy logistics were insulting to me professionally. I could have blocked him. But I was angry. He was using the terminology of my life's work to steal from me. He was mocking my profession. I decided to run a counter-operation. He wanted a receipt. I would give him a receipt. But I would make it a poisoned apple. I opened Photoshop. I found a template for a Swift wire transfer confirmation. I filled it out with my name, his agent's name, and the amount, $5,500. I added a bank stamp that looked incredibly official. Status: processed. But I did one more thing. I generated a QR code. I labeled it, Scan to Verify Transaction on Blockchain Ledger. I placed the QR code in the corner of the receipt. That QR code wasn't a bank link. It was a Grabify tracking link disguised as a secure banking portal. Did you notice the details? He claimed the box was in London, but the bank account was in Atlanta. Scammers rely on geographical confusion. But Margaret knows that money trails don't lie. She is about to turn his demand for proof into a trap. If you love seeing a scammer get outsmarted, hit the like button. I saved the image as wire_seat_confirmed.jpg. I messaged William. William, I was so scared for the box. I went to the bank immediately. I wired the $5,500. Here is the official receipt. Tell the courier to release it. I attached the file. I waited. I knew that within minutes, he, or his handler, would open that image. And they would scan that QR code hoping to see the money. And when they did, I would know exactly where they were hiding. I sat at my desk, sipping a fresh cup of coffee. On my screen, the Grabify dashboard was open. It was quiet. I had sent the fake receipt 5 minutes ago. Then, the notification sound chimed. Ping. New click detected. I leaned in. The Diplomat in Kabul claimed to be in a war zone. If that were true, the IP address would trace to Afghanistan, or perhaps a US military server node. I looked at the data log. Date, October 24, 2023, 14:15 and 22 seconds Universal Time Coordinated IP address. 197.210xx country. Nigeria City. Lagos ISP, MTN Nigeria device. Samsung Galaxy S21 browser. Chrome mobile. I didn't smile. I just nodded. He wasn't Ambassador Vance. He wasn't in a bunker protecting the innocent. He was sitting in West Africa, likely using a mobile data plan. A minute later, William messaged me on WhatsApp. Margaret. My queen. I received the receipt. You are a woman of honor. I have forwarded it to the courier immediately. He is releasing the box now. He was celebrating. He thought he had just made $5,500. He probably calculated his commission already. He didn't know that the QR code he scanned, which simply redirected him to a generic transaction processing GIF I found online, had just given me his digital fingerprint. I replied, keeping the persona alive. I'm so glad, William. The bank manager said it was a priority SWIFT transfer. It should clear instantly. Tell the courier to hurry. I will. I will. He typed. Go rest, my love. You have saved us. I didn't rest. I took a screenshot of the IP log. I saved it to a folder named Case File Vance. Now the real game began. The waiting game. It takes about 24 hours for a wire transfer to fail, or for the recipient to realize nothing is coming. I wanted to see how he handled the disappointment. Did you see how easy that was? He scanned the code because he was greedy. He wanted to verify the money. Instead, he verified his location. Scammers think they are invisible, but every device leaves a footprint. Margaret just turned the lights on. The next morning, the tone changed. I woke up to 5 missed calls on WhatsApp and a string of angry texts. Margaret, are you there? The agent in Atlanta says the account is empty. He checked this morning. No money. What did you do? Answer me. The Diplomat mask had slipped. He wasn't poetic anymore. He was aggressive. I waited until I finished my breakfast before replying. I needed to sound confused, but technically arrogant, the worst kind of customer for a scammer to deal with. William, what are you talking about? I typed. I have the receipt right here. The funds were debited from my account. Look at the MT103 field on the document I sent you. It says, remitted. The agent says no, he shouted via text. He says you are lying. Or you cancelled it. I did not cancel it, I replied firmly. But William, did your agent check the Federal Reserve pending ledger? You know that any domestic wire over $5,000 triggers a FinCEN review, right? I was making things up. A FinCEN review, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, happens, but there is no such thing as a pending ledger accessible to the public. But it sounded scary and bureaucratic. What is FinCEN? He asked. He was confused. It's the anti-money laundering checkpoint, I lied. Since the account in Atlanta is a personal account receiving a business wire, the bank holds the funds in a suspense for 48 hours unless the recipient verifies the source. Did your agent file the Form 8300? I don't know, he panicked. He is just a A consultant. He doesn't know forms. Well, that's the problem, William. I scolded him. If he doesn't file Form 8300, the money sits in the cloud. It's stuck. He needs to call his bank and authorize the release. Otherwise, the FBI gets flagged. I dropped the FBI bomb. Scammers rely on mules, the people in the US receiving the money. They keep the mules in the dark. If I could scare the scammer into thinking his mule was incompetent, I could cause chaos in their network. No FBI, he typed. Do not mention FBI. Just call your bank and force it through. My bank says it's done, I said. The problem is on your end. Your agent in Atlanta is incompetent. I need to speak to him. Give me his number. I will explain the regulations to him. I held my breath. Usually, scammers never let the victim talk to the mule directly. They want to control the communication. But William was desperate. He thought the $5,500 was sitting in limbo, waiting to be claimed. Greed creates blind spots. 10 minutes later, he broke the cardinal rule of scamming. Okay, he wrote. But be careful. He is a busy man. His name is Jerry. Here is his number. 404-555-0199. He gave me the mule's direct line. I looked up the number. It was a cell phone registered in Marietta, Georgia. Jerry wasn't a consultant. He was likely another victim, or a willing participant taking a cut. I didn't call Jerry immediately. I did a background check on the number first. It linked to a Jerry S., independent contractor, on LinkedIn. His profile showed a guy in a baseball cap who posted a lot about crypto investment opportunities. This looked like a willing participant. A Yahoo boy operating on US soil. I decided to call him. But not as Margaret the lover. As Margaret the customs broker. I dialed the number. Hello. A voice answered. American accent. Southern drawl. Is this Jerry? I asked, my voice crisp and authoritative. Yeah. Who's this? My name is Agent Margaret. Last name. I'm calling regarding a blocked wire transfer of $5,500 referencing diplomatic clearance. We have a compliance hold on this transaction due to missing documentation. There was silence. Agent? He asked. Like, police. I'm with the compliance division, I said vaguely. Mr. Smith, are you authorized to receive diplomatic funds? Because according to our system, your account is flagged as high risk. If we release this money, it triggers an automatic audit of your last 12 months of transactions. Whoa, Jerry stammered. I don't know about diplomatic stuff. My friend William just said he needed help moving some money for a box. William Vance? I asked. The individual in Lagos, Nigeria? Lagos. Jerry sounded confused. No, he's in Kabul. He's a diplomat. Jerry, I said, dropping the act slightly. William Vance is logging in from Nigeria. I have his IP address. He is using you as a money mule. Do you know what the penalty is for facilitating international wire fraud? I ain't a fraudster, Jerry shouted. I'm an investor. Then prove it, I said. If you want me to release the hold on this transfer, which didn't exist, I need you to forward me the shipping label for the box. I need to verify the tracking number in the customs database. If the box is real, I release the money. If you can't give me the label, then I have to file a suspicious activity report with the IRS. Hold on, Jerry said. He sent me a label. Let me find it. Jerry was scared. He wanted to prove he was legit. He texted me a photo of a shipping label. From Diplomatic Cargo, UK. To Margaret, last name, Miami, Florida carrier, Global Dip Logistics. But looking at the label, I saw something William hadn't shown me. There was a barcode. And a return address in New York. Unit 4B, 1200, Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. William hadn't just created a fake website. He had a hub in Brooklyn. I had the location of the physical operation. I hung up on Jerry. I had what I needed. I looked at the Brooklyn address on Google Maps. It was a storefront. Tech and Cargo Solutions. It looked like a legitimate shipping store. But why was a fake diplomatic pouch coming from a cell phone repair shop in Brooklyn? I picked up the phone to call my old contact at the USPS, U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Mail fraud is a federal felony. But before I could dial, my computer screen flashed. William was calling me on video. He was furious. He had talked to Jerry. I decided to answer. It was time to show him who he was really dealing with. My computer screen pulsed with the incoming video call. William Vance. I adjusted my glasses. I opened my recording software. I clicked accept. The image that filled my screen wasn't the silver-haired, tuxedo-wearing diplomat from the profile pictures. It was a man in a dimly lit room. The walls were beige, peeling paint visible in the corner. A ceiling fan whirred overhead, cutting through the smoky air. The man was younger, maybe 40. He wasn't wearing a suit. He was wearing a white tank top. He looked sweaty and enraged. "Who are you?" he screamed, his voice distorted by the bad connection. "What did you tell Jerry? Why is he blocking me?" He didn't even try to fake the British accent anymore. The cadence was unmistakably West African. "Hello, Ambassador," I said, leaning back in my chair, projecting absolute calm. "You look different without your sash. Did you leave it at the UN?" "Do not play games with me, woman," he shouted, slamming his hand on the desk. "Jerry says you are an agent. He says you are freezing the money. Release the funds now or I will report you to the FBI for theft." I laughed. It was a dry, humorless sound. "You're going to report me?" I asked. "For stealing money that doesn't exist? From a bank account that is empty?" "The receipt," he yelled. "You sent the receipt." "I sent you a Photoshop file with a tracking pixel," I said. "And thanks to your greed, I now know you are in Lagos, utilizing an MTN data connection. Your IP address is logged in my case file." He froze. The realization hit him. He had been so focused on the money that he hadn't checked the trap. "You are a witch," he hissed. "No," I said. "I'm a customs broker. I deal with liars for a living. And you, my friend, are a very sloppy liar." This is the moment the power dynamic shifts. He tried to use anger to bully her, but Margaret used facts to dismantle him. Scammers aren't used to victims who fight back with technical knowledge. When you strip away their script, they have nothing left but insults. If you love seeing a bully get humbled, hit the like button. He stared at the camera, his chest heaving. He needed to regain control. He switched to the only weapon he had left: fear. "You think you are safe in Miami," he said, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "I have your address. I have your photos. I have people in America. The courier in New York. He is not a nice man. If I tell him you stole from us, he will pay you a visit." He was referencing the Brooklyn address on the shipping label. 1200 Atlantic Avenue. "You mean the cell phone repair shop?" I asked casually. He blinked. "What?" I looked up the address. William. 1200 Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn is a storefront called Tech and Cargo Solutions. It's not a diplomatic hub. It's a drop-shipping point for stolen electronics. "It is a covert facility," he stammered. "It's a mail fraud hub," I corrected. "And guess what? I didn't just call Jerry. I called the USPS, the United States Postal Inspection Service." His eyes widened. Most people fear the FBI. But criminals who move goods fear the postal inspectors. They are federal agents with guns and a conviction rate of over 98%. They don't care about the romance. They care about the box. You lie, he said, but his voice wavered. I forwarded the shipping label Jerry sent me to the inspector in charge of the New York division. I lied smoothly. I hadn't done it yet, but I was about to. They are very interested in why a diplomatic pouch is originating from a shop in Brooklyn. They are probably parking a surveillance van outside right now. He looked away from the camera. He was calculating the risk. If his New York partner got raided because of him, he would be in trouble with his own syndicate. You are making a mistake, he muttered. Just delete everything. We walk away. No harm. It's too late for that, I said. You threatened me. You tried to rob me. And you insulted my intelligence. I don't walk away from unfinished paperwork. My cell phone rang on the desk. I looked down. It was Jerry. Hold on, Ambassador, I said to the scammer. Your business partner is calling me. I answered the phone on speaker, making sure the scammer could hear. Agent Margaret. Jerry's voice was frantic. I blocked him. I blocked William. Please don't arrest me. Jerry, I said calmly. I'm on a video call with William right now. He says you still have the money. He's a liar. Jerry shouted. There ain't no money. And look, I sent you the screenshots. I sent you everything he told me to do. He told me to print that shipping label from a PDF he emailed me. I didn't know it was fake. On the screen, the scammer's face twisted in fury. Shut up, Jerry. Shut your mouth. Jerry heard him. Is that him? Is that the British guy? He's not British, Jerry, I said. He's in Nigeria. And he's about to lose his Brooklyn connection too. I'm done, Jerry said. I'm going to the sheriff. I'm turning over my phone. I ain't going to jail for some gold bars that don't exist. Jerry hung up. The scammer sat there, defeated. He had lost his money mule. He had lost his victim. And he was about to lose his shipping route. You ruined everything, he whispered. No, I said. You ruined it when you thought you could outsmart a woman who spent 40 years reading manifests. Goodbye, William. I clicked end call. I sat in the silence of my office. My heart was pounding, but my mind was clear. I had won the battle. But the war wasn't over. I still had the Brooklyn address. And I had a contact at the port of Miami who knew the postmaster general. Jerry did the smart thing. He realized he was being used as a pawn and he flipped the board. This is how you dismantle a ring. You turn the pieces against each other. Margaret didn't just stop a scam. She broke the chain of command. If you are cheering for this victory, comment justice below. I prepared the email to the USBs. I attached the shipping label, the IP logs, and the recording of the video call. I hit send. I thought that was the end of it. But 2 days later, I received a package. Not a fake box from Brooklyn. A real letter, hand-delivered by a courier. It was from a law firm in London. A real law firm. Subject: Estate of the late Ambassador William Vance. My heart stopped. Was there a real William Vance? Had the scammer stolen the identity of a man who actually existed? And why were his lawyers contacting me? I sat at my kitchen table, the heavy cream envelope resting on the placemat. The return address was embossed in gold ink, Hampton and Sterling, Solicitors. London, UK. Inside was a letter on thick, watermarked cotton paper. It smelled of expensive toner. Dear Ms. Last name, it is with great sadness that we inform you of the passing of our client, Ambassador William Vance. He suffered a cardiac arrest in Kabul shortly after his last correspondence with you. In his last will and testament, executed 48 hours prior to his death, he named you as the sole beneficiary of his estate, specifically the diplomatic consignment currently held in bonded storage. To release the inheritance, valued at $2.5 million USD, we require your signature on the attached affidavit of next of kin. I put the letter down. A normal person might feel guilt. Did I kill him? Did the stress of my rejection cause a heart attack? A normal person might feel greed. $2.5 million? But I wasn't a normal person. I was a customs broker. And I knew that you don't execute a will 48 hours before a sudden death naming a woman you've never met as the sole beneficiary of a diplomatic box that doesn't exist. This was the recovery scam. When a scammer realizes the romance angle has failed, they don't give up. They sell the victim's data to a second team, or switch roles themselves. They pretend to be lawyers, FBI agents, or UN officials offering to recover the lost money or deliver a surprise inheritance. They prey on the victim's lingering emotional attachment or desire for closure. "Nice try, William," I whispered. "But you used the wrong font on the affidavit." I looked closely at the document. The legal jargon was gibberish. It referenced the International Court of Justice for a probate matter. Probate is local, not international. I decided to verify the law firm. I Googled Hampton and Sterling, London. It was a real firm. A prestigious one. But when I looked at the phone number on the letterhead, it didn't match the one on the official website. The letterhead number had a +44 prefix. +44 is a UK mobile phone number. High-end London solicitors do not run their practice off a burner cell phone. I decided to play along. I wanted to see the ask. I emailed the address on the letter, contact@hampton-sterling-private.co.uk. Again, a fake domain. "Dear Sirs, I am devastated to hear of William's passing. He was a good man. I am ready to claim the box to honor his memory. What do I need to do?" The reply came within 10 minutes. Speed is the enemy of legitimacy. Real lawyers take days to reply. "Dear Madam, we share your grief. To process the probate court order and release the diplomatic pouch to your address in Miami, the High Court requires a filing fee of £3,500, $4,200. Please remit payment to our escrow account immediately so we can close the file." There it was. The probate fee. It wasn't about the $2.5 million. It was about squeezing $4,200 out of me. I looked at the escrow account details attached to the email. Bank: Wells Fargo. Account name: Global Tech Services Incorporated. Location: Dallas, Texas. Another mule. They had burned Jerry in Atlanta. They had burned the Brooklyn address. Now they were using a tech company in Dallas. I felt a surge of cold anger. It was a hydra. You cut off one head, and another grows in Texas. I picked up the phone. But I didn't call the fake number on the letter. I called the Rayol Hampton and Sterling office in London. "Good afternoon, Hampton and Sterling," a crisp British voice answered. "Hello," I said. "My name is Margaret. I'm calling from the United States. I received a letter purporting to be from your firm regarding the estate of a William Vance. It asks for a payment to a bank in Dallas." The receptionist didn't sound surprised. She sighed. "I am so sorry, madam. You are the 10th call this week. We do not have a client named William Vance. That letter is a forgery. We have reported it to the Metropolitan Police, but these gangs, they are persistent." "Thank you," I said. That's all I needed to know. I hung up. I had confirmation. But confirmation wasn't justice. I looked at the invoice for the Dallas account. Global Tech Services Incorporated. I had a friend in Dallas. A former customs officer named Rick who now worked private security. I texted Rick a photo of the invoice. "Rick, can you run this business address? It's linked to a UK inheritance scam." Rick replied 5 minutes later. "Margaret, that address is a virtual office in a strip mall. It's just a mailbox rental. But I can look up who rented it." "Do it," I typed. "This is the recovery room trap. They try to catch you when you are vulnerable, offering a solution to the problem they created." Margaret didn't fall for the fancy letterhead because she checked the basics. Phone numbers and domains. Always verify the source independently. If you admire her thoroughness, hit the like button. Rick came back with a name. Renter. Samuel O. ID used. A Nigerian passport. He used his real ID to rent the mailbox. I asked Rick. Sometimes they get lazy, Rick said. Or they use a stolen ID. But here's the kicker, Margaret. I ran the name through our local database. Samuel O. was arrested 2 days ago in Dallas for credit card fraud. He's currently in county lockup. My jaw dropped. The scammer, William/Lagos, didn't know his Dallas mule was already in jail. He was sending victims to send money to a dead account. The money would bounce, or worse, get seized by the police as evidence against Samuel. Rick, I said. That is poetic justice. It gets better, Rick said. The Dallas PD seized his laptop. They are looking for victims to build the case. If you send them that letter and the email chain, they can add wire fraud to his charges. It guarantees he gets deported. I'm sending it now, I said. I forwarded the entire email chain, the fake will, the fake invoice, the fake lawyer's demands, to the detective Rick recommended. Then, I went back to the lawyer. I wanted to twist the knife one last time. Dear sirs, I emailed the fake lawyer. I am trying to send the wire to Global Tech Services in Dallas. But my bank says the account is frozen because the beneficiary is currently in the Dallas County Jail. Should I send the money to his commissary account instead? I want to make sure he can buy ramen noodles. I waited. The response was immediate. What? Jail? The lawyer broke character. The British formality vanished. Are you sure? Who told you this? The sheriff, I replied. I'm on the phone with him now. He wants to know if Hampton and Sterling would like to pay Samuel's bail, or should we add you to the indictment? The email address went dead. The domain hampton-legal-private.com was deleted within the hour. I had spooked them so bad they burned their own infrastructure. I sat back. I had stopped the romance scam. I had stopped the recovery scam. I had helped build a case against a mule in Dallas. But there was one final piece of the puzzle. The diplomatic pouch itself. William had originally claimed the box was real. He sent me a tracking number. UN 88921 US. I knew it was fake. But curiosity is a professional hazard for a customs broker. I entered the number into a generic tracking site used by scammers. It showed, held in London. But then, I tried something else. I entered the number into the real UN cargo tracking system, which is public if you know where to look. Result: invalid waybill. However, looking at the pattern of the number, I recognized it. It wasn't a UN number. It was a DHL format, just with UN added to the front. I stripped the UN dash and typed the numbers into the DHL website. Status: delivered. Destination: a warehouse in New Jersey. Signed for by M. Rossi. Wait. The tracking number was real. It was for a real shipment. But not to me. He had recycled a tracking number from a previous victim. And M. Rossi. That sounded familiar. It was the name of the scammer from the other story I had read online, Story 90. The civil engineer. It was the same ring. William and Marco were working out of the same playbook, using the same recycled tracking numbers. I wasn't just fighting one man. I was fighting a franchise. I realized I had stumbled onto a massive dataset. If I could find other victims who received this same tracking number, we could link the cases. I went to a forum called Scam Warners. I posted the tracking number. Within an hour, I had 3 replies. I got that number from a doctor in Yemen. I got it from an oil rig engineer in Scotland. I got it from a prince in Dubai. 3 women. Same number. Same scam. We weren't strangers. We were witnesses in a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. And I knew exactly who to call to organize it. I spent the next 48 hours glued to my screen, but not for romance. I was building a spreadsheet. On the Scam Warners forum, the replies kept coming. User Linda_X. I sent 3 iPhones to that address in Brooklyn. User Sarah_UK. I mailed a designer watch to an agent in New Jersey. User Hopeful_55. I sent $10,000 cash wrapped in a magazine to a warehouse in Newark. I organized the data. I cross-referenced the tracking numbers, the addresses, and the names of the agents. A pattern emerged. A clear, undeniable logistical pattern. While the diplomats and generals were supposedly in Kabul or Syria, the physical goods, the electronics, the cash, the clothes victims bought for them, were all funneling to one specific location. 400, Industrial Way, Unit 9, Newark, New Jersey. It was a consolidation hub. In the shipping world, we call this a reshipping scam. The victims buy goods with their own money, or stolen credit cards provided by the scammer, and ship them to a mule in the US. The mule repacks them into a container and ships them to West Africa or Eastern Europe as used household goods, to avoid customs duties. William wasn't just trying to get my $5,500. He was part of a massive export operation. I looked at the address. Newark. I had worked in Miami, but customs is a small world. I knew the port director in Newark. We had worked a joint task force on counterfeit handbags in the 90s. I picked up my phone. Frank. I asked when he answered. It's Margaret. From Miami. Margaret. Long time. Are you enjoying the beach? I'm enjoying the hunt, Frank. I have a tip for you. A warehouse in your jurisdiction. It's receiving hundreds of packages a week from romance scam victims. Electronics, cash, jewelry. And I think they are prepping a container for export to Lagos. Frank's tone shifted instantly. Do you have the waybill numbers? I have 50 of them, I said. And I have the names of the victims who paid for the goods. If you raid that warehouse, you aren't just seizing cargo. You're recovering stolen property. Send me the file, Frank said. If they are misdeclaring the manifest, I can get a federal warrant in an hour. This is the unseen side of the romance scam. It's not just wire transfers. It's a physical supply chain of stolen goods. Scammers use victims to launder merchandise. But merchandise has to move through ports, and ports have gates. Margaret just locked the gate. If you love seeing logistics used for justice, hit the like button. The next day, Frank called me via FaceTime. He was standing in a massive, cavernous warehouse. Behind him, uniformed Customs and Border Protection, CBP officers were cutting open cardboard boxes. Margaret, Frank shouted over the noise. You hit the jackpot. He turned the camera. The warehouse was stacked floor to ceiling with boxes. I saw stacks of MacBook Pros, boxes of designer shoes, high-end drones, and in the corner, a pile of FedEx envelopes, likely containing cash or checks. We detained 3 individuals, Frank said. 2 packers and the manager. The manager is claiming he runs a personal shopper service for overseas clients. But we found the relabeling machine. They were stripping the original invoices and declaring these as charitable donations to avoid taxes. Did you find the diplomatic pouches? I asked. We found boxes marked UN, Frank laughed, kicking a crate. Inside, used car parts and stolen catalytic converters. They were using the UN logo to try and bypass inspection. It was a multi-million-dollar operation. And William, my poet from Kabul, was just a salesman feeding this machine. What happens to the goods? I asked. We log everything, Frank said. We contact the senders. The iPhones go back to Apple or the victims. The cash goes into evidence, then restitution. It's going to take us months to sort this, but the pipeline is cut. Unit 9 is shut down. I felt a surge of triumph. I hadn't just saved my $5,500. I had stopped a container ship full of stolen wealth from leaving the country. Good work, Frank, I said. Send my regards to the boys. I hung up. I went back to the forum. Post, update. The Newark hub has been raided by U.S. Customs. If you sent a package to 400 Industrial Way, contact Agent Frank Miller at the Newark field office to claim your property. The replies flooded in. Tears. Thank yous. Relief. I wasn't just a moderator anymore. I was a commander. I closed the laptop. I was done. I walked to my balcony to look at the Miami skyline. The sun was setting, turning the clouds pink and gold. Then, my doorbell rang. I froze. The last time I got a package, it was the fake lawyer letter. I walked to the door. I looked through the peephole. It was a courier. A real one. Wearing a UPS uniform. He was holding a small, flat envelope. I opened the door. Sign here, ma'am. I signed. The envelope was from the United Nations, New York headquarters. Real return address. I opened it. It wasn't a fake invoice. It wasn't a scam. It was a handwritten letter from a woman named Director Vance. The same name the scammer had used. William Vance. Was this a coincidence? Or was the scammer mocking me from inside the UN? I held the letter with trembling hands. The stationery was heavy, the UN watermark authentic. It was signed by Elizabeth Vance, Director of Field Security, United Nations. Dear Ms. Last name. Our internal investigation team, led by Director Vance, no relation to the scammer, or so I thought, flagged your report regarding the misuse of diplomatic pouch protocols. However, this letter is personal. Ambassador William Vance was my father. He served in Kabul, Bosnia, and Rwanda. He passed away 5 years ago. He was a man of immense honor who spent his life protecting the vulnerable. For the past 2 years, criminal gangs have been using his name and his photos to exploit women. It has been a nightmare for my family to see his legacy twisted into a tool for theft. We have tried to stop it, but the internet is vast. Your actions, tracking the IP, exposing the mule network in Newark, and rallying the victims, did more in 1 week than our legal team has done in a year. You didn't just stop a financial crime. You helped restore my father's good name. Thank you for defending a diplomat you never met. Sincerely, Elizabeth Vance. I put the letter down. Tears pricked my eyes. The scammer hadn't just invented a character. He had stolen a dead hero's identity. He had worn William Vance's reputation like a costume to gain my trust. I looked at the empty spot on my desk where the fake, diplomatic receipt used to be. I felt a deep, resonating peace. I hadn't found love with William Vance. But I had found a connection to his daughter. I had protected his memory. That was worth more than any box of gold. I picked up my pen and wrote a reply to Elizabeth. Dear Director Vance, a good manifest never lies. Your father's legacy is safe. The shipment has been cleared. This is the hidden cost of scams. It's not just the money lost by victims. It's the reputation stolen from the innocent people whose photos are used. Margaret fought for the truth, and in doing so, she gave a grieving daughter some peace. If you believe that honor is worth fighting for, hit the like button. 2 months later, I stood on the balcony of my condo, overlooking the port of Miami. The cranes were moving in the distance, loading containers onto massive ships bound for Rotterdam, Shanghai, and yes, Lagos. I wasn't sipping a mojito. I was sipping coffee, my laptop open on the patio table. I was now a moderator for the Fraud Fighters Global Network. My specialty: logistics analysis. Whenever a woman received a tracking number, a shipping invoice, or a customs fee demand, she sent it to me. I verified the waybills. I checked the container numbers. I exposed the fakes. My phone buzzed. A message from Jerry, the guy in Atlanta. Jerry. Ms. Margaret. Just wanted to say thanks. The FBI cleared me. I'm working at a hardware store now. Real job. No more diplomats. Thanks for waking me up. I smiled. I typed back. Keep your receipts, Jerry. I looked out at the ocean. I had retired from the port, but I hadn't retired from my duty. I was still a customs broker at heart. I was still the gatekeeper. The scammers thought they could use the complexities of international shipping to hide their crimes. They thought women like me wouldn't understand the paperwork. They were wrong. We built the world they try to exploit. And we know exactly how to shut it down. Final hook. Love is a voyage. But never, ever let anyone board your ship without a valid manifest. Real life is full of pirates posing as captains. Margaret proved that you don't need a badge to enforce the law. You just need to know the rules better than the criminals. Because you watched until here, I know you value the truth. So you need to do 3 things. First, leave a powerful like. The YouTube algorithm needs to know that we stand against fraud. Help this message reach the people who need it most. Second, subscribe and hit the bell. You guarantee a new story every week right in your feed. Here we bring the raw truth about relationships and money. Third, go down to the comments and tell us, have you ever been asked to pay a shipping fee for a prize or a gift? Did it sound fishy? Share your story below. Remember, 87% of people watch and forget to subscribe. Don't be that person. Knowledge is your best defense. Click subscribe now. Stay safe, and check your tracking numbers.